What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. And today, I was going to be doing a TDM mock draft, but apparently their site's a little bit buggy. And I decided to look it up to see if PFF had a new mock draft. And well, lo and behold, we have a new one as of today. So perfect timing. Let's do a mock the mock on Trevor Sikkema's PFF mock draft. Of course, if you guys are new, you guys like draft content, like, comment, subscribe, join the community. We just got over 3,300 subs. So let's keep that going up. Without further ado, let's kick into this. Jacksonville Jaguars, #1 overall, selecting the guy who I think beautifully should be sitting there, Evan Neal out of Alabama. Yeah, I absolutely love Evan Neal. Big fan of him. I think he might have been the #1 pick in a lot of my early drafts as well, because he was my #1 player coming into the year. Still is now. Went to #2 for just a moment, but came back literally less than a week or two later. So cheers to Evan Neal. He is an absolute stud. I love him to death. Again, easily the best tackle in the entire class. Look at this, 22 pressures between left and right tackle over the past 2 years. And that's with him having to learn how to play right tackle, then having to learn how to play left tackle. This guy's just on another level. Like, his versatility is incredible. And the fact that this guy played at that high of a level with not even playing 2 years at one of those positions is absolutely outstanding. This guy deserves way more hype than he's been getting. And he's already getting #1 pick hype. So very happy to see that. #2, Lions. Of course, you got to get the leftovers, which is still a 5-star edge defender in Aiden Hutchinson. He does kind of feel like a Detroit Lion. I do love him to death. But again, a really solid candidate for a defensive player of the year if he comes in. Just really, not defensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year. If he goes into the Detroit Lions, he's going to be able to change that franchise. Trey Flowers should be cut. I think he saves like $10.5 million if he gets cut. Replace him with Aiden Hutchinson, who can actually be a big impact to your team. I love that. Texans getting Kyle Hamilton again. I already know that some of my resident Texans fans want to go offensive line here. I would like to go offensive line. However, if you're still sitting at this position, you have to go after KT or Kyle Hamilton. Center with Linderbaum, I don't think it's that valuable compared to a tackle. I know some people talk about Ikem Ekwonu being at the spot. I'm not that sold on Ikem yet. Again, he had some pretty bad misses. His lows are really low. His highs are really high. That could be good for a team like the Texans. And it really depends on how Laramie Tunsil's handled. But Kyle Hamilton is far from something to be pissed off about if that's what happens. He is he might be the best safety of all time. Like, he's one of those unique safety talents that you do not see ever. It's not like Aiden Hutchinson, where you see a really dominant edge defender like Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, and like there's a lot of them. Safeties that are defensive freaks like Kyle Hamilton, just the intelligence, the build, and just the overall play style. They don't come like that ever. And Kyle Hamilton is one of those breeds. Evan Neal is a little bit rare as well. But again, if you get Kyle Hamilton, it of course matters what's going to happen in the later rounds, because, obviously this is not just a 1-round NFL draft. That's going to be very indicative of how valuable that pick's going to be. #4, the Jets get Ikem Ekwonu. I would never complain about a team like the Jets being able to snag offensive line. Again, I'd rather go KT, but there are teams that might be a little bit lower on KT. He's had some injuries. He's also been very inconsistent from game to game. So getting someone like Ikem, where he has that same inconsistency, but you're protecting your #2 overall pick, might have more value to the Jets. I think KT is much more of an option for them. But again, Ikem is far from something to be pissed off about. It's kind of like the next best thing, because of course my mock draft is going to be different from everybody else's. Giants getting KT, at that point you have to. I don't even care. I think that offensive line is the biggest need for the Giants, but you have to maximize your potential right there. And KT is going to be your guy who maximizes that pick. Next, Panthers getting Charles Cross. I think as long as you don't go quarterback, that's going to be perfectly fine. People started getting on me because I did not like Brady Christensen and said he didn't do well this year. He had one good game this year. The guy let up 25 pressures and he wasn't even starting for, I think, even 10 games. So again, not to be rude, but he's not that good. There's a reason why we're still looking for a left tackle. So yeah, Charles Cross is a phenomenal tackle when you don't have a second or third round pick. And again, I people like to say, yeah, let's trade back here. The problem is you have to have a team to trade up. Okay. That is the one thing that is a little bit frustrating after like trying to tell fans this for a long time. You can't just trade back because the team will have to pay the price to trade up. And the Panthers don't have many takers. Now, you're not going to have the Dolphins trading up from 20 to be able to get Charles Cross, right? You're not going to be able to have them trade up over 12 or like over about 15 spots, let's just say. So because of that, it's like, it's not logical for a team to move up. There's also teams in there, like, well, we'll talk about it, but I just can't see a team moving up. Atlanta, they're not going to be able to move up with Carolina. They're in the same division. So again, I think the Panthers did the right thing here, getting Charles Cross. You got to look at a quarterback, but again, the last thing you should do is reach, especially if you can be able to get someone in the 4th round like Brock Purdy. I'm just going to be honest, that seems very underwhelming compared to what you can get with Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, those guys. I think that guy's legit potential, though. Number 7, the Giants getting Tyler Linderbaum. Yes. And you know what? I love this about Trevor. Fuck the people who say you can't take a center that high. Honestly, they said you couldn't take a guard as high as 5 or as high as 3. Okay. Well, what about Quentin Nelson? Like if you're that mad about Quentin Nelson being drafted that high, which I don't think Colts fans are, kiss it. Honestly, no one cares. No one really cares. You can take a player where they're worth the price. Like you don't overreach on a player unless to you that position is extremely valuable. Like you need a quarterback and a guy's worth a mid 1 to a late 1 to you. Their value to you is probably a lot higher than that. With Linderbaum, his value is insane. The positional value might drop it a little bit, but if he's the right fit, take him. The guy's incredible. Also, the center class sucks. So, if you get Tyler Linderbaum, you're getting by far the best player in this class at his position. So I think that's a great pick for the Giants right there. Getting KT and Tyler Linderbaum would be a pretty good pairing. Atlanta Falcons getting Treylon Burks. Again, really depends on how he's going to test out because Deebo Samuel is going to increase the demand for someone like Treylon Burks, who's really good with the ball in his hands and is very physical. So definitely something that should be on watch radar if he does perform well at his pro day at the combine. So definitely keep your eyes open for that. Again, I think that when you have someone like Derek Stingley still on the board, that should be factored in. I think it should. Left cornerback, you can just definitely pair him up. That's where you're looking at need versus best player available. And I don't think Treylon Burks is the best player available by a long shot. Again, if he tests well, I can understand it. But for now, Atlanta does have 2 second-round picks, and there are going to be some receivers that fall there because in the I would do mock draft, the only guy, there wouldn't have been any of them, but that's just because I knew how few wide receivers there were and how large the demand would be. So that's that. Broncos getting Kenny Pickett. Again, I'm fully supportive of the Broncos going quarterback. I don't have Kenny Pickett as my number 1 guy, but I know a lot of people who do. So I understand it. Number 10, the Jets getting Drake London. Again, I'm not as high on the wide receiver class as some people, and I love me some Drake London. I do. He's arguably moving up my draft board to wide receiver 2. I mean, he's just a phenomenal wide receiver. Absolutely phenomenal. You look at his size, 6'5", 210. You look at his route running. You look at his ability after the catch. Just the guy is an all-around amazing receiver. The team could certainly take him, but it's very, very, very rich at number 10 to take a wide receiver like Drake London, who's coming off an ACL. That's just my thought. Washington football team going Matt Corral. Again, not my order, but I would definitely support the position. Support that position. Matt Corral definitely has some very high-level games where he looks like high-level NFL talent. I would go after someone, since we're in the age of Josh Allen, go after someone like Malik Willis, who has the big arm, has the mobility, and has the mentality of a fucking warrior. That to me is worth a lot more, especially in this age where we've been able to prove that even if you are inaccurate, even if you do make some bad decisions, that you can be refined into somebody, as long as you have the mentality and the work and the drive to do it, you can be refined into somebody who is an absolute superstar. So that's my opinion on the Malik Willis thing, why he may even be my QB1. We got to watch him at the Senior Bowl. So we'll see about that. Vikings getting Derek Stingley. Again, I think Sauce Gardner's a better fit for the team, even if Stingley is there, but cannot complain about Stingley being there. Number 13, the Browns getting Garrett Wilson. Again, I think he's OBJ. As long as he runs sub 4.5, which he might not, he should be this pick. Like, yeah, it could be splitting hairs 4.51 versus 4.49. Like, you could start kind of like pinching the gap there a little bit, but you do have to be an elite athlete to be a very big impact, especially when the quarterback play hasn't been or hasn't been good. So that's my thoughts on that. Even though I love Garrett Wilson, send him there all the time. Ravens getting George Karlaftis, should not be here, to be 100% honest, but if he is, that is just a damn scary fit. I love Karlaftis, and he's actually great as my edge too. But again, I do like it's like numbers don't mean everything. It's a good guide to go off of. So he's my edge 3, but the guy's phenomenal. He's an absolute monster. So I love him, but I would not love him as a Steelers fan on the Ravens because that'd be good. Eagles getting David Ojabo. Again, I think that Ojabo is a little too raw. He's graded as my edge 7, but I, of course, factor in the fact that he's so new compared to guys like Jermaine Johnson, but in Arnold Ebiketie, he's a very high ceiling player with a lot of growth to do. The Eagles might not be the best spot for him. I don't think so. I think you need somebody who will actually come in day one and play at a very high level and still have a very high ceiling. To me, that perfect fit, even though I've been a big Ojabo to the Eagles fan, and I still would be huge. I would still love it. I'm just saying the best fit would be Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson's just incredible. Like, if you guys haven't seen Jermaine Johnson or are trying to say that I'm dumb for thinking David Ojabo is not as good as Jermaine, just halt the comments. Go watch Jermaine Johnson. That guy is just phenomenal. I love him to death. Eagles going Devin Lloyd as well. They just haven't taken a linebacker since 85. I'm fully supportive of it if it happens. Again, I think that's a very good position to go after. You're getting a true Mike there in Devin Lloyd. But again, I will just say, one, doesn't fit with their drafting history, but two, it also, like, there are other positions on the table, like Sauce Gardner is still there. I think that's a lot more valuable than Devin Lloyd. So just got to put that in there. Chargers going Jordan Davis. What's up with the Sauce Gardner hate right now? Because this should be Sauce Gardner as well. Like, all these picks should be fucking Sauce Gardner at this point. Jordan Davis, I don't get this. So I know that the Chargers' run defense has been straight up cheeks, right? Like, that's the big issue. It's like, oh, our defensive line is not being able to stop the run. Why would you spend the number 17 pick on somebody who, I mean, when you can spend maybe your second or third round pick on someone who is also big as fuck and can have 1 to 2 plays a drive that are very good? You can find that anywhere, honestly. You could trade for it. I'm sure you don't have to trade a first round pick for Fletcher Cox. You know, you could trade probably like a third round pick for him. The guy's on the trade market. You know, if you trade that, well, you have kind of solved that problem. You can get someone like Sauce Gardner at this point. You can get someone like Kenyon Green at this point. There's a lot better value here than just getting a freaking nose tackle. I don't get why people don't understand that. That's why Christian Barmore fell as well. You know, the guy just, one, he did have some work ethic issues. I did know that. But he also, like, the positional value is just not good. When's the last time we've seen, like, look over at the Panthers right now? Is Derek Brown worth the number 7 pick? Or I think it was like the number 6 pick. I don't think so. Like, this is just, these guys are, these defensive interiors, DeMarcus Lawrence. No, it's not DeMarcus Lawrence, but Dexter Lawrence. I'm forgetting Christian Wilkins. These guys who are first round pick defensive interiors are not worth the first round pick. They're good talents in their own right, but they're not worth the first round pick. Jordan Davis is no different. In fact, I think he's not even worth the first round pick entirely because the guy only plays 2 out of every 4 downs with actual emphasis, with actual energy. So I just don't get that. I really don't. I don't get why people love Jordan Davis that much. He is graded as my, technically, factoring in actual grading, he's going to be probably my number 4 defensive interior. But factoring the fact that you look at Josh Pascal and then also, Travon Walker as being much lighter, obviously he'd be more of my defensive interior too. Still, Jordan Davis as a nose tackle should not have that much value. especially to a team like the Chargers, where you can still fill up the value of an offensive guard / tackle. You can fill up a big corner position. Just doing that for Jordan Davis is stupid. I'm going to be honest, it's stupid. Saints going George Pickens here. Again, I don't think going after another boundary one would be the best thing, unless you're going to be pretty confident Michael Thomas is just not going to be there. You don't want AJ Green and Michael Thomas. You want like Michael Thomas and somebody who will be able to take advantage of Michael Thomas taking the corner one and having a unique ability. Jameson Williams with speed. Obviously, he's already been taken, but Garrett Wilson with after the catch ability as well, being able to do some jump balls and stuff. Obviously, Chris Olave, he's an excellent route runner. Treylon Burks, even though he's been already taken, just these guys can take advantage of being on the number 2 corner. Same thing with George. Just again, there's not as much of a ceiling because George is a unique mold that fits Michael Thomas rather than I'm supporting Michael Thomas, but can produce better than Michael Thomas. If you guys get what I'm saying, just drop it down in the comment section and saying, I got you. Number 19, the Eagles, Trent McDuffie. I know that a lot of people love Trent McDuffie, and in the right scheme, he will be worth a late first to me. I have an article on the website, my only one right now. Again, we'll be posting them when they're starting to be written up, where I say Trent McDuffie's a late second. If you actually read the article, because people are trying to say there's a lot of hate in there, which is crap, it means you didn't read it, you will realize that his grade fell because of 3 categories. I don't think he's a hyper athlete, which is okay in the right scheme where you usually have somebody over the top, or else you're in like a cover 3 scheme where you're already bailing out. He has a wonderful bailout, by the way. If you guys don't know what that means, it's he can get depth really quickly. So he's not going to get torched if he's in deep zone. But he has subpar athleticism in terms of deep speed. He's not very good in the run game. That's fine, right? It's just a category that will just drop your grade. Honestly, it might drop most of these corners' grades. So in the end, you might see that a 61.25 is actually worth an early 2. We'll see. And then, of course, he wasn't honestly that special with his ball skills. That's it. That's really it. 3 categories can knock you down pretty far. Like that's, and of course, I grade very harshly. So all these players get graded equally harshly. So again, for a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, if you got the correct safeties over the top, perfect. Honestly, you have my full support. Of course, I think Sauce Gardner is 10,000 times better, but that's just because I love Sauce, not as much of my hate for Trent. So again, for a team like the Chargers, this would be perfectly fine. But for a team that runs heavy man, or you can look at like the Panthers, for example, I don't think Trent McDuffie would fit the Panthers, who look for a lot of athleticism and stuff like that. It's the whole entire reason why draft grades are kind of stupid, is because you have to look at them in this specific scheme. Regardless, it's still fun anyways. Something that's fun is Steelers getting my QB1 right now, Sam Howell. Mwah, I love that. I would absolutely love it. New England Patriots getting to Kobe Dean. Could see that as well. They are going to be looking for linebackers to succeed the ones that they already have. And Nakobe Dean brings a lot to the table. I do like that pick, even though wide receiver should be on the table. Raiders going Jameson Williams. Fine with that. Totally fine with that. Love it. Cardinals getting Drake Jackson. I'm just not that high on Drake Jackson. Again, I have a 2nd round grade on the guy. Like, it's not like I hate him. I have a 2nd round grade. I just don't think he's worth this pick. There's some extremely high level flashes from him. I will admit, like, he does have some of those very high level plays. That's not worth the number 23 pick, especially when you have a ton of 1st round quality edges on the board. Again, the difference between him and, let's just say, Arnold Ebiketie is going to be like 5 points. So what if he had a little bit more athleticism, or else he had maybe 1 or 2 more splash plays on tape, he could have made that difference. And that's why I understand if teams take him in this order, that's what happens. But I just think there's quite a few guys ahead of him. Cowboys going Kenyon Green. I love it. Absolutely love it. I think I started doing this at the start of the year and people got mad at it. I was like, no. Kenyon Green's a good fit for this team. Love him. Love him to death. Especially since he could play guard, and then I think his best position is at left tackle. That would be a steal. Bills getting Andrew Booth. Love it. Absolutely love it. Titans getting Bernard Raymond. Again, I'm not as high on Bernard Raymond as a lot of people. I feel like he is the much better version of what Brady Christensen was last year, just a guy who graded out really well and it has a solid enough path to the NFL. I think he'll be perfectly fine. Again, a second round tackle to me, just chill the hype because he's not that great. He really isn't. Number 27 with the Buccaneers getting Roger McCreary. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm pretty sure Carlton Davis, yeah, he's up for a contract too. So Roger McCreary played at a very high level this year. I do like him quite a bit, so no disrespect there. Jahan Dotson, absolutely big fan of Jahan. Big fan of Jahan. Just a very, very, very high level receiver who has, the thing is, he has the intelligence to be able to have the technique and the timing to get the perfect body positioning. That is something that a lot of receivers don't have, and it's why some receivers fail in the NFL. You look into N'Keal Harry, somebody who just uses his size to get open. You have to still position yourself to get open. Jahan Dotson doesn't have the size, but he has the intuition and the technique to be able to do certain swim moves. And somebody really helped me out on this. It was a wide receiver. I think his name's James Lofton. Yeah, it was next to Andre Reed. He did the same exact move. And it was like, dude, that's Jahan Dotson right there. That exact move, that's Jahan Dotson. So just saying, there has been very high level receivers that have flashed the same things that Jahan Dotson is right now. He also carried his offense. He's not that special to me because of his athleticism. I don't think he's that much of a burner, but excellent addition to this team. Max Mitchell to the Bengals. Honestly, I'd be fine with it. I have him as a second, but again, dude's still pretty damn solid. If you really want to get a right tackle and are that desperate for it, I think that he's perfectly fine for the pick. Again, I'm pretty sure is Sauce Gardner. Yeah, he's still on the board. Like, it's stupid to go after Max Mitchell when Sauce is on the board. Again, it is depending on people's boards, but I do support the idea that you want to protect Joe Burrow. And if you think that the value that will be added from adding Max Mitchell compared to Sauce Gardner is more, again, you know it's better for your team than I do. That being said, I'm sure 99.95% of you guys will go Sauce Gardner any day over Max Mitchell. Dolphins getting Trevor Penning. Again, I don't really see the need to go after a developmental tackle when you need someone who can play now. Just something that pops in my head. But again, you are at number 30. This is a late first, so you can spend it on someone who has a chance of busting out and it'll be okay. Like, don't want to talk about Isaiah Wilson or anything, but did not go over so well for the Titans. Again, I don't think Trevor Penning is going to be of that caliber. Guy does have some crazy high level plays. So, yeah, I mean, like, look at that. It's ridiculous. But there are some really big oomphs on tape where you just like, oh, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. Things can change. People can develop. Probably not the team I'd trust to develop a tackle, though. Detroit Lions getting Jaquan Brisker here. I'd love it. I'd freaking love it. Huge need for the team and a guy who is an absolute stud in a very weak safety class. And then she's getting Sauce Gardner. I would literally, like, honestly, I'd buy a Sauce Gardner jersey. I don't like the Chiefs, but I would buy a Sauce Gardner jersey if he falls to 32 and the Chiefs get him. I'm like, they've earned my respect because they finally took a chance on somebody who is an absolute god. Like, they just took a chance on him. So I love Sauce. He's great. Overall, I think that there's a little bit of some really weird picks going on here, especially with Sauce falling to 32. Like, there's just some weirdness going on. But again, still original. Could be a lot worse. So honestly, I'd give it a grade of probably a B. I would. Just, again, nothing special. Did some good picks. Did some bad ones. We all go there. So let me know what you guys think. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.